Strange New Worlds has finished. Yay. Well, hello there, guys. Welcome to the video. I just got done watching Strange New Worlds, Season 3, Episode 10. The final episode in an otherwise underwhelming, derivative, and vacuous and empty season of science fiction television. Apologise if I'm low energy. Obviously, there's a lot going on in the world right now, and I am pretty ill. I've come down with something once again. So I'm going to try and get through this video. If my voice starts to break, you know why. Now, before I get into anything, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to all my subscribers and people who have supported the channel, who have liked my videos and shared them. And the little community I've got, I love you all to bits. And I think it's important for us to say that now, because life is just too short not to. So thank you so much to everybody who watches my content and enjoys it. It really does mean a lot. And if you are new here, then please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification, hit the like, just to keep up to date with all the new content on the channel. This final episode of Season 3 of Strange New Worlds, I cannot fathom how this show got 3 seasons, let alone its 5 seasons that it has been confirmed to have. I don't understand how it's managed to do it, but there's clearly an audience. Some people like it, some people don't. That's up to you. I'm not dissing you. If you like Strange New Worlds, that's completely fine. I think I've been pretty comprehensive as to why I don't enjoy New Trek. So this episode continues on from the prison episode with where they uncovered the prison and all the disembodied aliens, ghost things, which aren't disembodied, but they kind of are. The nurse guy's back because of some transporter wizardry. He was put back together after apparently being taken apart. I'm not really sure. I can't remember what happened there. And he is a god now. He's a god, and he's worshipped on this planet by people who worship him so much they stab their own eyes out. They do. They stab their own eyes out. They're that committed. But when the crew of the Enterprise try to get through the portal that him and Mbenga have just gone through, they seem oddly quiet and uninterested. It's like, genuinely, they're just in the background just going, oh. Trying to open the portal. Your move. You know, it's bizarre. This episode was truly bizarre. It's like nothing made sense in it, as usual. They're on this planet and there's this portal, and Mbenga, the nurse god, he lures Mbenga through the door because the scripture on the door has Mbenga's life story on it. So Mbenga's got to be the key to open the door, but he's not the key to everything. Something else is the key to everything, and I'll get to that in a moment. The Enterprise crew have to try and reopen the portal, and they decide to use the Farragut, which is Kirk's ship, and the Enterprise, and perfectly synchronize them using a mind meld between Spock and Kirk, and that will play into everything later. A mind meld between Spock and Kirk to fire combined phasers at the portal to power it to open it up. Even though Mbenga just went through it because he had the right DNA, they think they can puncture through this portal using ship's phasers, because one ship's phasers generates enough power, the same amount of power as half a star, half of Earth's sun. So the Farragut generates the other half and they open the portal. I have questions about that, about phaser energy, because if it's half the power of a star in a phaser beam, then shields have got to be strong. I don't know, who knows, that might be lore. I'm not a walking encyclopedia on Star Trek, but I found that really bizarre. Pike and BATEL, who, by the way, BATEL is it turns out she's got the DNA, or the life experiences, or the life force, or the aura of all these different species that have encountered evil. Evil exists in every species, and it certainly does at the moment. But all of these combined races. So she's like Rey Skywalker. She's all the Jedi, right? Okay, and she has to fight the nurse guy because her destiny, it turns out, is to be the statue in the middle of the room in the multi-dimensional prison thing. And she has to fight him. But before she fights him, she gives Pike like a false life, like an inner light false life, like the Next Generation's inner light. And it turns out, she's the amalgamation of everything. She's Lulu Dallas multipass from The Fifth Element, and gives Pike an inner light moment, where he lives this life with her, the perfect life, married, kids, growing old, promotions, you name it. And then Pike comes back to reality, and Batel ends up becoming the statue and defeats the nurse guy. And that's the episode. And I'm not even close to joking. That is the episode of Strange New Worlds, the finale, the final episode. There's some sort of generic bleed off into the 4th season, in which case we're going to be treated to Muppet Pike. And I've just explained the episode. I mean, I've not broken down everything. I don't usually do that anymore because it takes too much time. But that's the episode. Now, there were some notable parts in this episode, notable positively or negatively, depending on what you think. Pelia, I'm sure she references the fact she knows Doctor Who. I'm positive that's what I heard. She goes, "Remind me to tell you about a time-travelling doctor I once knew." And obviously we had the TARDIS in the episodes beforehand. So what's this, a Doctor Who Star Trek crossover? Fantastic. What a gimmick. And I know that the comics have sort of crossed over Star Trek with the Green Lantern. I've got one somewhere that I got in a mystery box, and it was a mystery why it was in there in the first place, and a mystery why it was made in the first place. But hey ho, there you go. So yeah, she dated Doctor Who. She dated Doctor Who. The away team are trying to open this portal, and the two guards are easily dealt with by La'an. She dual wield Vulcan neck pinches two of the guards that are guarding the portal, but the followers of God Nurse Guy, they're in the background and they're doing nothing. They do nothing to stop them. They don't. They're played off as these zealots that gouge their own eyes out, in honor of this eyeless nurse god thing. They do nothing while Pike and the Enterprise crew are messing with this portal. They don't fight them. They don't stop them. They do nothing. Okay, they're docile. They're just playing chess in the background or something. Probably playing chess with the Gorn from the previous episode. So yeah, it's absolutely bizarre. So Kirk and Spock apparently become friends because of a mind meld, because they have to sync up. They have to sync up with each other. And because the Enterprise and the Farragut's maneuver has to be so precise, and their firing pan has to be so well timed, that they have a mind meld and are telepathically linked, so they sync up and they talk at the same time and do the same things at the same time. And Peli is just like, they are so perfectly synchronized. Sort of played as that's the beginning of the friendship between Kirk and Spock. A mind meld. A mind meld. So there's a little bit of, Sarek sharing with Picard. That sort of general concept. It's a real mishmash of concepts all put together to form an episode of Strange New Worlds, of New Trek. As a season finale, it's underwhelming. There are people that are going to like this, of course. There are people that like New Trek, and there are people that don't like New Trek. I'm one of the people that don't like New Trek, and I've given New Trek more than enough chances. And aside from a few cherry-picked elements, New Trek is a disaster. And this just proves it. And I don't understand how this show has gotten more seasons. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's weird. It's crazy to me. It's bizarre to me. Absolutely unreal. So that's the final episode. In a nutshell, that's it. There was not a lot of anything that happened. On the surface, it seems like a perfectly good story about how love conquers all, and destiny. But there's no nuance to it. It's literally like it was written by a robot, like a robot's interpretation of what these fundamental elements are that are trying to make up this story. It's a real piss poor episode, and a terrible ending to a really lackluster season of television. We'll go into it a little bit more in the Evening in 10 Forward, the live stream. Please join us for that. It is a lot of fun. And you know, me and my co-host will break it down for everybody in more detail. So yeah, do join us for that. Star Trek is done for the year. I think there's no more planned releases for this year. Strange New Worlds is done, and I have to say I'm not at all unhappy about it, because reviewing this season of Star Trek has just been truly bizarre. Not quite the levels of Star Trek Picard season 2, by the way. I did have an idea, and I'll run it past you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments section. I was thinking, because I never really got around to doing a review of Star Trek Picard season 1, I may torture myself a little bit and go through that season again and do this style of review video for each episode of Star Trek Picard. Now I say it, I'm filled with dread. Oh dear, what have I done? I might edit this part out, to be fair. So that's it. That's all I've got to say for this episode of Strange New Worlds. It was really stupid. It was everything you come to expect from Strange New Worlds. And I'm happy to take a nice long hiatus. I think it's going to be a long hiatus as well. Probably not as long as the hiatus between season 2 and 3, but it's still going to be a long break, I think. And then we've got Academy to look forward to. Oh, God. Oh, we got Tilly again, haven't we? Oh, God. It's going to be crazy. Now, that's all I've got for this video, and I am going to say this with all the love that I can muster. Please look after yourselves. Please look after one another. You all take care. I will see you in the live stream. If not, I will see you in the next video. You look after yourselves. Take care. Bye-bye for now.
I need the silence, stop the violence of the war in my head. Time's the healer, the eraser of all done and said. And as I fall back to my shelter, I know I'll only find peace in your smile.